Hey, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden, the second one of the day, and I'm very excited to have my next guest waiting in the wings. But before I bring her on, let's get it. Let's start. All right, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Like I said, it's the second episode of the day. Really excited to have my next guest. Before I bring her on, you can follow the show on all the podcast platforms, whether it's Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We're on Spreaker. We are also on the BS3 Network, BS3TVLive.com, Roku channel, BS3 Network, Roku channel. Download the app as well. And you can follow me on all the social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Get the Real Deal on those platforms. Well, let me bring in my guest. I was just telling her the background of the story of how I started following her quite a few years ago, and they wanted to get her on the show. And then she was on another podcast, and I said, okay, this is it. We gotta get this done. So, but now I finally got her on. Lauren Jump from Rotowire. She is the social media manager for Rotowire as well, fantasy sports. We're gonna get into her career and things like that. So, Lauren, welcome to the show. I really appreciate it.
Hey, yeah, thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, for sure. And you host and you do a little bit of everything at RotoWire too, and everything too. So, but I really appreciate that you accepted the invite, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. I really appreciate that. All right, well, let's get started. I'm gonna. I asked my first time guest the same question. First question: Who is Lauren Jump, and how did you get into sports?
Yeah, I love it. So, hi, everyone. I'm from Delaware, and I've kind of lived all over the place after growing up there. So, my career actually started in sports information and media relations, which meant a lot of doing a little bit of everything. So, from
Mhm.
covering teams, I would travel with them, write game stories, handle social media, coordinate media requests, media guides. I would input all the stats. So, it was a lot going on there. But one of the first teams I ever covered was actually University of Delaware women's basketball team. Elena Deladon was front and
Mhm.
center for me, and it was right
Yeah.
when she was coming back from UConn to play at University of Delaware. There's a media frenzy around her story to come home and be close to her sister, and it led to a historic season at UD. So it was pretty wild and inspiring to be introduced to the sports world through that lens right away. And I was instantly hooked. From there, I moved to New York City. I worked at Columbia University, managed more teams there, baseball, among others, and then to LA for a little while. So I worked with an author for a long time and just always had that sports itch, which led me to start freelancing a side gig with Rotowire, writing MLB player notes. I was always really into fantasy baseball, so that just felt really awesome for me, and just eventually did more and more at Rotowire until I got to now where I'm managing social media, a lot of the stuff with the brand and PR. So it's been a really fun journey.
Yeah, that's a great journey. Yeah, that's and everyone's journey is different, especially in
Mhm.
the sports media, fantasy sports space. And you talked about like some being the versatility, some of the roles you had, like you said, brand manager, book editor, for author, and you said writer, and everything too. Would you say that having that versatility and doing a lot of different things kind of led you to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think about that a lot. I mean, right from the beginning, I had to wear a lot of different hats, and I always was nervous, like, oh, am I going to be enough of an expert at anything? Because I'm doing so many things, just a little bit of them. But overall, I think it really shaped me into just the career person that I've become today. And with that, I've gotten better at fantasy, I've gotten better at social media and everything else over the years too. So it's all starting to come together really nicely right now. It's a
Yeah.
great time to be in fantasy. It's a great time to be part of sports, and it's just been really, really fun.
Yeah, and journalism and sports media, as you know, has changed over
Yeah.
the years. It seems like it's changing every day, and
Cool.
we always got to keep our eyes on that, you know. And
Yeah.
you said news and notes. You said you were taking writing player notes and things like that. Um,
Mhm.
I kind of like doing that same thing, and kind of growing up same ways, like just stats and things like that, sports information,
Oh yeah.
and all that. Just I remember getting the newspapers and ripping out the statistics, and I hope that my school's not listening from back in the day when we used to do that in the newspaper, rip out the statistics from that point. But yeah, I think it's changed a lot. But talk about that, yeah, the changes of how social media has changed how we consume sports, how we consume statistics and things like that. Talk about that from when you started into what it is today.
Yeah, well, I mean, even when I first started, I was creating social media accounts for some, University of Delaware, for Columbia. They weren't on Instagram yet, so that alone right there was just a big change because suddenly graphics were front and center. People were looking
Mm-hmm.
at rankings and sleepers and different information in a more visual way very quickly at their fingertips, which is a big change from the past. On top of that, video has changed a ton, and with COVID was a big like piece of that puzzle.
Yeah.
When I first started working in fantasy at Rotowire, COVID was like only a few years right after that. So we saw all of a sudden everyone's live streaming just like us right now, from home. Anyone can
Yeah.
do it from anywhere. And it really made an immediate like shift in how people were consuming and also broadcasting the content, which I think moved things even faster. And a lot of people were able to get into it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think with the pandemic, and you said it was such a bad to a timing for one, and then but just in general, I mean, it was a global pandemic, shut down the world. But it kind of made us, and I say this all the time, kind of made us like kind of step back and over all the busy work we were doing, I'm sure we were all doing, and kind of take a step back and say, okay, we're taking a pause, but the content didn't stop either. Even though sports did stop for a while, there was still a few sports here and there that came back early, things like that. But yeah, it took a pause in our lives to kind of reevaluate, and now things have changed. Like you said, this type of um, this type of dialogue now on is what it is today. Is like it made it possible. And it's blown up since then too.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And all right, well, let's get into a little bit of the journey into to Rotowire, which is a tremendous company that does so much good work as well. You guys kind of talked a little bit about where you started to where you are today. Talk about what the social media, being a social media manager, what that entails.
Yeah, well, I first started, I was doing like one Instagram post a week for Rotowire, and I eventually, just kind of started to do more and more. Now, we have a bunch of Twitter accounts. We have 20 actually, because Rotowire covers a ton of sports. We have
Yeah,
cricket, we do esports, we have MMA. So you name it, we probably cover it as in regards to fantasy and maybe even betting. So a lot of Twitter accounts there, but then also Instagram, Facebook. You know, we're on YouTube. Alan Sosowski does a great job with everything on YouTube, and we're on TikTok. So there's a lot of different platforms. Blue Sky now, there's always a new one. There's Threads. There's always a
yeah,
new one popping up that we're like, oh, is this going to be big? Let's test
right,
it out. And
right.
my number one thing I say all the time, I don't like this because it's hard to measure sometimes and give results to like our bosses,
Yeah,
but we have to experiment, like that's the number one thing on social media. Like we don't know what people are going to like until we try something, or if we try it to a new audience, or try new style graphic. Some people, just you got to just test it out and see. So that's been a really big thing for us, but it's a fun part of the journey too.
yeah, you're right. And like you said, it's always like this ever changing media, sports media is just ever changing. And the new social media pages, you said Blue Sky and Threads. And now, are you on all those? So I know Rotowires. Are you on all those social media platforms, or do
Yeah,
you
of
have to
course. And
kind of?
I always
Yeah,
have to try everything for my own personal side.
yeah,
What are my friends up to? What are like the girl influencers up to these days? I like to kind of see what the whole industry is doing. Like not just from my, the sports perspective, but also just what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
That helps me a lot too, just to see, well, some of the mom groups that I'm in, like they might be on
Mm,
a trend first. So, maybe I'll follow what they're doing. Like, oh, okay, how can we adapt this to fantasy? And, just be ready for this trend ahead of schedule for everyone else around us. So,
yeah, for sure. And you talked about, I want to talk about women in fantasy football and how much that's grown. The fantasy sports in general, not just fantasy football, but fantasy sports. You being a big part of that as well, especially as you said, social media manager and being able to see the trends and what's happening, what's going on. And I've seen the growth of women in football, just women in sports in general, sports media, and the growth. And I just love seeing it as well. But talk about the growth of that aspect of women in sports, women in fantasy sports, and the trajectory it's going.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really great women who work in fantasy sports now. I actually had the pleasure of meeting quite a few of them at the FSGA conference in Chicago a couple of weeks
Yes.
ago, which was a really, really great experience because, day to day, I don't get to have conversations with that many women about fantasy sports. And that also led me to finding Rachel and Women of Fantasy Football and Unwind, which that was part of a great Zoom I just did last week as well. And I think that was the first time I've ever had a conversation with, 15, 20 different women at once. We were all talking about our lineups and our Scott Fishbowl drafts and who, okay, what round are you? What pick are you? Like, who are we going to draft next, or who's still on the board? And it's like, wow, that was a really awesome conversation. It was very inspiring and motivating. So I hope to have more of that and continue to meet more people in this space that can facilitate that. But it's so great to see how much it's grown, for sure.
Yeah, shout out to Rachel and the Unwind,
Yeah.
that amazing group of women that's doing. And I've had the pleasure of meeting Rachel a couple of years ago at the Fantasy Football Expo, and I remember she was talking about that before of trying to get and women in fantasy football. I met that group too, and it was just great to see. I love sitting back and watching that and just seeing the growth of that, and it continues. There's so many different women are doing it just like yourself, and I'm sure like that conversation was amazing. I'm sure.
Yeah, it felt really, really good. Are you going to the expo this year?
No, I'm not going. Not this year. Because I'm going to got a vacation coming up. My anniversary's that is around that same time, or a couple weeks
Oh,
after.
well,
So
congrats.
yeah. Thank you. And so yeah, that's that's very important.
Yeah,
And
of course, of
but
course.
are you going to the
I
expo?
am actually. Rachel convinced me.
Oh,
Right
okay.
away. I'm like, oh, I could see the value in this. It's going to be great. Rotowire actually just did a big launch of a new website. We're purple now. We used to be blue, so I don't know if
Yeah.
you've noticed, but
Yes.
it's been a really cool change. We actually launched at the FSGA conference, so we were surrounded by a lot of people in the industry, which is a little nerve wracking, but also exciting, and just got such great feedback, and just from around everywhere that we were that day. So hoping to keep that rolling at the expo. It's my first one, so I can't
All
wait to
right.
see.
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of fun. Like I said, I went 2 years ago, and it was a lot of fun. Didn't get a chance to go last year, and then this year for sure. But it would have been nice. I would have. I definitely would. It would have been nice to meet you in person as well. But maybe in the next couple years, we could do this again because that continues to keep growing too, and it gets and they have such they have they have their drafts but it's all about the networking, and yes, they have
Right.
some parties there. It's a little bit of a little bit of everything. But I love the expo in itself. The parties are great, but at this point, as I got older, the partying is I've done that and
Right.
everything too. But it's more about the networking and
Yeah.
meeting people, meeting incredible people, and looking at watching the drafts, the experts draft, some of the panels. Yeah, so you're gonna have a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited. I always like to tell everyone, I mean, in social media, I like to be social. So it's really
Yeah,
nice sometimes to get out and actually talk to people socially, like not just from
yeah,
my laptop, but face to face. It's really, really refreshing because it has been a long time since I've worked, day to day in an office with people. So yeah,
right.
I think it's great to have these experiences for sure.
For sure, yeah. It's gonna be, yeah. You'll definitely have a lot of fun, as well. Get some rest for sure because it is nonstop. But you get to go to Hall of Fame. and get to see that. So it was a great, it was a really good time as well. You talked about the FSGA and the conference, and I saw you had posted on there, and it looked like that was an amazing time too, and just it was the women innovators of sports, leading, creating, and changing the game. And you were part of that panel. Now, did you host that panel?
No, I wasn't on the panel, but I did
Oh,
host the podcast directly
the
after
podcast, right,
women on
right.
it. Yeah. So that was really, really cool. Getting to meet those women and just talk about, like just seeing where they're at in the industry and all the things that they have going on. That was a very cool experience.
Yeah, it looked like it was a great experience on that as well. So yeah, just a lot of great things happening, and just in general for you as well. So continued success with that. I want to get into some. We're gonna definitely talk some golf, but with the Open Championship. But I just saw. I don't know how I missed it, but I just saw that you guys just released you released your with Lynn Hochberg,
Mhm.
and then the Open Championship draft and the PJ DFS best bets. So I got to listen to that. I definitely will listen to, because I always enjoy that. And I think that's why I said when I first listened to you, you were hosting that on the on Twitter. I don't think Twitter Spaces. It's not as big as it used to be, but that's when I remember seeing you on Twitter, on the Twitter Spaces. But let's get into some fantasy football. We talk about Scott Fishbowl. I'm part of that as well. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, yeah. So talk a little bit about this season, what you're looking for, and trends, and because it's always different each and every year. Talk about a little bit of the trends of the fantasy football upcoming season.
Yeah, honestly, that's a great question. I'm in so many leagues already, which I'm almost at my limit that I promised
Yeah.
myself. And I know I'm like not even close to doing some of the one like some of my family league to go and like my work one. So I'm like, oh geez, okay, here we go.
Mhm.
But with that, there's a lot of different formats I'm trying this year too. So
Okay.
Scott Fishbowl, especially, wow, how cool! Like it's on sleeper, and we have more points for tight ends,
Yeah.
and like quarterbacks are going so high. At this point, I have no running backs on my team at all. Which
Uh-oh.
no running back strategy. That's a thing, but this is like, wow, okay, I'm in like round 8, and I don't think I'm gonna have any. So that's been like a weird feeling, but also kind of cool because I'm like, you know what, let's just go for it. As far as trends go for this year, it just depends. I'm a big advocate of like zigzag, like see how the draft is going.
Yeah.
When it gets to your pick, I love to get one receiver and one running back when I can. Like I love starting rounds 1 and 2 that way, just because I feel so like safe. Like I can kind of just play around with it after that.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry. Oh no, I don't have a running back still. Oh, it's just like a security measure for me. But as far as the rest, I mean, I'm in so many different formats, whether in draft like styles that I just kind of go with the flow at this point. It's been really fun. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to too.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of fantasy sports for a long time, and it's always different strategies. I always go into a draft with a strategy, but then it gets thrown out the window because you're
Right.
dealing with, I'm in my podcast league. I'm only doing, actually, this year. I'm really trimming down. So I think I'm only doing 2 leagues this year, because I did so many the last few years. I was just telling my wife. She said, I know, I don't believe it. I told her this last year, and I ended up being in like 10 different leagues. But I told her, nope, I'm doing my normal podcast league, and I'm doing the Scott Fish Bowl,
Hmm.
and DFS. That's it. That's it. I'm trying to concentrate on just those few leagues. She doesn't
Hmm.
believe me, but
It's hard.
yep,
I don't like
yeah,
to say no. I mean, I like to try
yeah,
things. I like to try
yeah,
formats like guillotine, for example.
yep,
I've done that for a
yeah.
few years now, but it's just fun, and you never know unless you try something. So
Right.
yeah, but I'm
I
definitely a sucker for more.
I think I might. I know somebody's gonna ask. I was in a couple other leagues last year. They said, "Hey, are we running it back?" And I've already told them no, but I'm sure if they're gonna need someone, I might do it. But
It's like, yeah, if you
uh,
make it a best ball league this time, I'll do it.
yeah, best ball, yes, for sure. And that's a very popular one as
Yeah.
well. We always do the redrafts and everything too. But you're right. I think when you go with a strategy, I mean, you still have a strategy, but people, the ones that they drafted, some of the players that you have your eyes on, and on the turn, and it's like, oh, I was
Well,
like,
yeah, and I'm very superstitious, so I know if I look at the player that I want, that player gets taken. But if I'm not looking
Every
at
time.
him, he's still there. So
Every time. Yes. Every
I try
single
not
time.
to get too crazy about it, but I swear that is definitely a thing that happens. So
Yes, 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 for sure. And yeah, I'm like yes, I'm on my Scott Fish Bowl. We're in the ninth round. It's
okay,
slow. It's a slow draft, And for
right,
those that don't know, Scott Fish Bowl, the league, he does tremendous work. Charity. It's like the biggest fantasy football draft. Because you live drafts, you slow drafts. It's on. You say it's on the sleeper app now. This is my third or fourth year doing it as
oh cool,
well. It's like a big community of just of a draft, and it's amazing what he's doing. And yeah, so I'm yeah, I love it because it is a slow draft. It gets a kind of sometimes gets annoying because people are not drafting, but it's this. You get 7 hours or 8 hours to draft
yeah,
to make your draft
right.
pick. So, but how's your draft going in the Scott Fish Bowl right now? I know you
I
said you have no
mean,
running backs, but
besides running backs, I think it's pretty good. I mean, I started off with quarterbacks early. I was pick 5.
okay.
So I went Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. I don't know how that's going
Mm,
to end up for me, but I just kind of wanted to go for it and just see because, like, I don't know. It could be great. Who knows what's going to happen? This is my first time doing it too, so
yeah.
I was a little shocked. Or I guess he changes the rules every year too. So
Yeah,
it's
every
like,
year. Yeah.
yeah. So it's not like
Mhm.
people have like planned for this new format or anything like that. But we'll
Yeah.
see. I
Yeah.
sometimes I like to. I think I also start to play around too much because I'm like, oh, I know that I'm in a bunch of leagues, so I don't. I almost like don't take it seriously enough. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna like play around and just like try this, and it's like, oh, I should have just like stuck to my strategy and taken it seriously. But we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you
Hopefully,
never
one
know
of
what.
them turns out good. That's
Right. Right. Because like last year in the Scott Fish Bowl, I started like two, and I was terrible in the beginning, and then I started winning in the end, but it was too late. I didn't make the playoffs or anything like that. So when I thought I had a tremendous team, but injuries, of course, does it, and
injuries always. And for me,
always.
baseball seasons overlapping in the beginning makes it kind of a little
Yeah.
bit crazy too because I'm in 6 fantasy baseball leagues.
Right.
So that's just a lot. It's a lot of
A lot
management
of.
every day.
Yeah, a
I'm like,
lot of management, a lot
yeah,
of time, yeah, for sure. And yeah, and I had the fourth pick in the Scott Fish Bowl, and I picked.
okay,
I went with Jamar Chase, and I had options. I had plenty of options. I could have went, as you said, Josh Allen, and then everything too. But I went Burrow on the turn,
ooh.
and then yeah,
See,
so
I like that. I was hoping to
yeah,
stack. I was
stack that.
hoping for some stacks. They didn't turn out well. I got swiped a few times. I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
even know you people. We're strangers. You're swiping me. Come on.
yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, the swipe. People they snipe us and they get us. It's like, yep. So, but yeah, I think I'm doing pretty decent. So we'll see what. Now it seems like this round's getting to the tight ends. So I don't have any tight ends yet. So I guess I better start getting a tight end or two for now. So it's because it's
Yeah,
premium. So
get that
yeah, so
extra point.
yeah, you got to.
Extra
You
two
have to.
points. I get. Are
Yeah.
you in the sleeper one?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes. So yeah, gotta get a couple tight ends. I got a couple receivers, got my running backs, two quarterbacks. So yeah, now it's time to get a couple tight ends just to make sure I'm covered and
Right.
everything too,
Yep.
for
That's
sure.
smart. It's smart.
Yep. Yep, for sure. All right. Well, let's get into some of this Open Championship
Okay.
as well. And like I said, I gotta go back. I saw it. It was a couple hours ago. I was like, oh, just missed it, but I'll definitely listen to it on because I've got to get my DFS lineups in. But what are you looking for the Open Championship? What type of golfers are you looking into? And any advice or any players that you're looking into to put in your lineups?
Yeah, well, I mean, my one and done pool is my number one thing right now. I don't have a
Mm,
ton of top golfers left in that.
mm,
I do have Matt Fitzpatrick, who I
mm.
kind of like this
Yeah,
week. I also have Colin Morikawa, which I don't love him this week, but I mean,
right.
out of all of my people of my top 10, 15 I have left, he's the top. So, yeah, I think I'll probably end up going Matt Fitzpatrick there. For DFS, it's always like a puzzle for me. So I actually need to open the option and take a look for this week. I haven't really done that too much yet, but I'm going to look for that value. There's always someone I like to start at the
Yeah.
bottom actually sometimes. Like,
Okay.
let's see who's like really cheap that I think is like someone I would have picked anyway, or just someone who's I don't know. I'm always hunting for value, I guess. So,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No,
if
those.
someone's overpriced and they flop, your whole lineup can sync with them. But if you
Yeah,
find that underpriced guy who pops off, then yeah, that's where you win big. So, I mean, that's always me in the beginning. This week, Rory, can he get it done in his home country? Everyone would love to see that. He's had a great year for the most part. Obviously, the Masters, and he's just
Yeah.
kind of chilled a little bit since then. But we also have Scotty. He's on a heater, but like not really his best tournament. So I
Right.
mean, I do
Right.
like him, but not if he costs too much. We have guys like Minwoo Lee and like Tommy Fleetwood, sneaky DFS picks, I would say.
Yep.
Weather's going to play a big role. Like, potentially, it's going to be a lot of rain. They're used to it. Windy, okay, but still, it's going to affect some guys. So, we're going to watch all of that pretty closely heading into the weekend. But yeah, I mean, Royal Portrush it's a fun test. So there's a lot of cool things that can pan out here.
Yeah, it's a great breakdown, and I agree. And it is the weather is always a factor
Yeah,
at the Open, and who, like you said, who can adjust to the weather, who can scramble, who can do all those things, play at different levels. Because you said you got to be able to scramble and all that. So and then deal with those weather conditions. You're right. I think I look at the bottom of the board as well, especially in DraftKings. Kind of like I've been here early. I know it's still early. It's only Monday, but like a Ryan Fox who's been
hmm
extremely like playing very well. Just looking at his, besides the Scottish Open, he was 65th, but a first to 19th and 17th. So what three? That's at top 20s and or four. I think he was 20th and at the Memorial. So yeah, he's another guy at 7,100 as well. So yeah, some sleepers and at the top of the board, I definitely like Roy. And yeah, can he get it done? Do you feel like he can get it done? That's going to be one of the other storylines. Any other storylines that you're kind of looking at? Is Roy, Scotty, can Jordan speak? Can he get back on track
right.
as well? I mean, this is a good spot for him because of his scrambling ability. But any other storylines that you're looking into heading into watching the Open?
I mean, I guess, just Ryder Cup implications. Like if,
Yeah,
there's
that's
going
the
to be a few
point.
guys battling out for the team. So how that will affect them. Um, Shane Lowry, too, is another one. I always love to pick him in the drafts that I do with Len and Kevin and Ryan from Rotowire. Like he's just, I don't know, especially here and now. He's definitely riding hot and a fan favorite coming into this. So it'll be tough for him, I think, but he definitely has some potential there.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, otherwise Xander, I don't think so this time. But if someone can do it, it's him, right? Like he can bounce back and
yeah,
secure it again. So 2 in a row, maybe that would be definitely cool to see. Um, One stat I thought was interesting is that this year's field includes all of the top 50 players in the world. So it's just
that's a good
interesting
stat.
to see. Like this is definitely gonna be very competitive. There's more like intriguing local and amateur standouts there as well. And of course, we have the live guys, which this week it just doesn't feel. I don't feel the
Mm,
live guys this week at all. Which my one and done pool, you can only pick live guys for the majors. So it's
right.
Bryson and like John Rahm were definitely big picks for earlier in the season. But this week I'm just not really feeling them so much. So
Okay. All
I'm
right.
gonna fade them, I think.
Oh,
Sure.
okay. Yeah, and then you're right. I think the only one that I think is had a chance. You said in one and done, like a lot of those top guys have probably you said been used, but Rom might be the only one because I know, like I said, I don't think that this course doesn't fit Bryson
No.
as well because of the scrambling. It's just not one of his strong suits.
Right.
He's just just a driver, and you said you got to be accurate off from the driver, and he's one of those guys just wants to hit it as far as possible. I mean, he's improved on a lot of his game, of
For
course, but
sure. Definitely.
yeah, but it's one of those things like he doesn't think this course fits it out. Yeah, could he go out there and really play well? Yeah, sure, but I think John Rahm, he does seem like he's got the mental part of it back, and also playing well. Maybe the pressure of now just saying, okay, now yeah, I'm on live because last year he struggled with that. I guess the adjustment, but now this year he has played well so far. But I think he's the only, for me, the only live guy. I think that has a chance to maybe get a top 10 or top 50, top 20,
Yeah,
maybe.
I can see Brooks like kind of hanging in
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
He might do all right. I mean, I wouldn't pick him as my pick, but I would include him in a lineup potentially. So we'll see. But
Yeah.
I know Max Homa's not supposed to be there this week. He's playing
Right.
elsewhere. So
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's one sad one. He's in my FSGA experts league that I'm in. So not been a great year for him.
yeah.
I won that league a few years ago, and so I'm in the Champions League still, but might be on the skin of my teeth on this one. It's not my best year for that one, but
Mm. I mean, that's what we do for fantasy sports and things like that. You have
yeah.
good years and you have some skinny to teeth type of years, and then you have not so good. So you think the best strategy for this tournament is it balanced build? Do you think it go from top to the bottom? Start scrubs as they say. Do you think, or is it going to be more of a balanced build? Do you think could win in like a DraftKings?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you get one of those top guys in there, like Rory or Scotty, honestly, like and build around them if you can.
Okay. Yeah.
Look for those really deep values, and just work out the puzzle and the rest of there. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited. I think Rory definitely has a good chance. Scotty, who knows? But they're gonna still place pretty high up. So it's not like you need your top tier guy to win, right? So
Yeah.
we'll
No,
see.
you got to try to get us. It's hard, but you got to get a 6 of 6. But it's more of try to at least get 5 out of the 6, especially in a major and with cuts. And so many guys are 5K guys as well. So those are, that's always throws a wrench in it too, because you got to hit on those. Those are like dart throws in
Yeah,
a way.
exactly.
The 5K guys. So for sure. All right. Well, just had just a couple of more. I want to ask you about your day to day. I'm sure it varies each and every
Of course.
week and everything too. But what's like your day to day like? Just in a from a personal and professional. What's your day to day like?
Well, I have 3 kids under or
Yeah.
5 and under, so
Right.
that's a big
right.
part
As a
of my
mother,
day.
yes. As a mother, so too. Yes.
So, they're,
yeah.
waking me up at all different times, so depending on the day and the child. So, I'm always up, I almost kind of love it at this point because it's like, oh, whatever random thing that's happening in some game or
Right.
breaking news, there's a chance I'm probably going to see it because I'm up anyway with somebody. So,
yeah.
I kind of just love that.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I mean, I get on and it's very collaborative with everyone at Rotowire because, we're all over the place connecting. I do some sweeps of all of our accounts and just get the day rolling with, whatever the big news is right now. It's exciting because it's football. It's starting up, making
Yeah.
sure, we like to make sure everything's like scheduled out and coordinated with our content team, our video
Mhm.
team, our podcast team, our email marketing. So a lot of big initiatives just to coordinate all of our content across platforms. And then, working with influencers, doing a PR push and making sure our brand is, really good because it's new and we got to make sure it's consistent and up to
Yep.
par with all the changes. But yeah, I'm just go, go, go all day.
yeah, as you said, being a mother, that's the main thing. That's the most, I'm sure, the most important. And but you said that the balance part of it, I'm sure that's always a question that do we even know what that word is anymore?
Of course, balance is number one. And I mean, even
yeah,
just from a perspective of lineups or from a perspective, I like to do golf and football and baseball. It's all a balance for me. So
yeah.
it's such a great word. It really does ring true in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, definitely in our lives, in our work life, and our home life. Yes, it's always about trying to find that balance and really enjoying what you do and everything too. So, right. So what's next for Lauren upcoming? I know you said football is coming up, so I know it's deep dive into that and um say got golf, still got, even though it's the last major golf, baseball you said is still in the mix. You got the All-Star break now, for sure, and the home run derby and all that too. But what's next for Lauren?
Well, so this week is the FSGA Experts Leagues for fantasy football. So I will be doing 2 of them. I'm doing one tomorrow for a PPR league and then one on Wednesday for a guillotine league. So really excited. These are my first football leagues I've done for FSGA. I've done golf and I've done MLB and I've done props and wagers
Okay.
for multi sports. But these are my first 2 for football. So that's really, really exciting. And actually, I joined the FSJ PR committee a few months ago. So I'm really looking forward to helping things like help elevate and promote these drops with them. And then also just be more part of their podcast and just find other ways to help elevate and connect them around the industry. So those will be some things. Then, of course, the expo I'm going to for the first time in what, about a month, a little under a month from now. So
Yeah.
that'll be really exciting too.
All right. Well, you got a lot of great upcoming things coming up. So I didn't want to keep you too much longer. You said mother of three and got to stay busy. But I really do appreciate this. I
Yeah,
really
thank you so
enjoyed
much. It's been
this
great.
conversation. And we'll let everyone know where they can follow you on social media, Rotowire. They can reach out to you and all those good things.
Yeah, so follow Rotowire at Rotowire. Download our Draft Kit app for fantasy football. It's really awesome and new, and there's a lot of cool features there. Follow me at Jump Sports Talk, and feel free to DM me there anytime. If anyone wants to connect, I'm all about it. Gotta be social on social, right?
Yeah, social on social. You gotta do that as well. But Lauren, thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for just doing this. You said I followed you again for a while, and I just really appreciate that we found some time. Hopefully, we can do this again, maybe during football season, and or maybe before. I'll reach out again, and we'll maybe find some other time. And your podcast family now, so you're part of the Real Deal podcast family.
I
So
love it. Thank you.
yeah, I really appreciate it. All right, thanks a lot, and
All right.
enjoy the seasons, and best of luck with everything you got going on as well.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
All right, you have a good one. All right, that was Lauren Jump, Rotowire. Follow her there. Really appreciate her time as well. Like I said, I've been a big fan of hers and what she does. Social media manager for Rotowire Fantasy Sports. So follow her journey and follow all what she got going on. So I really appreciate it. All right, well that's a wrap for the show. I want to thank both of my guests, Brittany Fan, pro golfer, and Lauren Jump, social media manager for Rotowire as well. All right, well that's a wrap of the show. More great guests coming up at the end of the week, so be on the lookout for that. Until next time, as always, peace and always God bless.